Hey, it's Shabes, and welcome to another edition of AniTube Digest, where we go over the best and not so best anime YouTube videos to come out this week from the 25th of March to the 31st of March. Yeah, it's a new space, and I'm not done unpacking. I mean, I was gonna put like posters up and stuff. You'd probably like right here or something. And first, for the videos that I thought were not good. God, I'm actually kind of tired. Guys, I have to say, I'm getting really sick of this. Oh no. Fucking Kenny Lauderdale put out, I honestly think this was kind of his worst video. It kind of spiraled into this was really insufferable. The best bad anime, Chargeman Ken. And it's like, I probably should have seen it coming. I probably should have. I was aware of Chargeman Ken for like Bad Anime Bad or Anime Hell or something like that. This is a easy target. Easy target! And you're making it out like, guys, this is the worst. It's like, yeah, yeah, cool. At least in my sphere, right? At least, I'm aware of it. And this happens to be on Retro Crush, actually, the new streaming app. This is on Retro Crush. And it's like, it's hilariously bad. And I'm not going to try to defend it or anything like that. But the way Kenny paints this for nearly 30 minutes is just straight shitting on it. Trash. Kind of what he did with Twinkle Noir Rock Me. With very unfair kind of random criticisms like, guys, the episodes are only 5 minutes. It's like, who cares, dude? Make it edit. Like, what does that have? What is that a criticism of? Like, why is that a bad thing? It's so weird. And it's like, you can make it into a criticism of like, yes, but it's episodic, but it's only 5 minutes. But it's like, does this guy seen fucking Inferno Cop? Like, that thing is 2 minutes. It makes even less sense, I would imagine. And it's like, but I think that just the real problem with this is it's 30 minutes of ranting and asking general whatever, where does he get the car? This is not the show to be asking that. And you know that. And yet you're asking it anyway. He literally sounds like he's going insane. And he says it several times. He lets you know. Maybe 8 times. If you watch this video, I don't even want to watch this video. It made me really, really fucking tired, okay? But if you went back in this and saw how many times he repeats himself, like, nothing looks normal. I'm going insane. The animation's bad. It's like, whatever, man. Like, this is nothing insightful or funny. Like, there was points of this in this video where I was like, is he just trying to be a comedy channel now? Like, is this just for fun and like kind of for kicks and to make people laugh? And it's, I mean, maybe if people have never seen this sort of thing before, but you gotta be, funny. Like, I've been watching Ginkotaku recently. It's a reaction channel. It has like a series called That's Cringe, and watching those videos they find are cringe and everything like that. But what really works is the commentary after that and being smart and witty. You're not funny, Kenny. I'm sorry. Find something else. Christ. I couldn't believe this. He's just like, I can't even tell when it's badly drawn. It's like, oh, I can't tell when it's supposed to look normal. I can't even tell when it's badly drawn. What point does what does that mean? It's baffling. And it's baffling in not the fun way, in not the way I think you want it to be. It's like you're trying to embody Chargeman Ken in this video and you're failing. You sound like Bennett the Sage, completely fucking serious to this actual joke. And the sad thing is, you realize it's a joke. You realize everyone is in on it, and Japan kind of treats it as the room, because like the last 2 minutes he finally talks about, I mean, I did not personally know about this specifically. I mean, I knew that this was laughed about, at least in Western spheres, like Discotek obviously licensed this, like pure, like they're fully aware of it, you know? But like Japan apparently is so super in on it and has like so many memes and shit posts and their own stage play and whatever. And like, you know, they're fully in on it. And it's like, you should have been clear about that from the beginning. And like that you saved all of your, it's so bad it rises back to the top to being one of my favorites at like the last minute. And you're making us suffer for 27 minutes of like, you actually think it's terrible and you're just miserable. You sound miserable in this video. I'm sorry. If you wanted to make it out that you were having fun with it, you can be like, oh, it's so absurd. It's hilarious. It's funny. I don't even think he says it's funny in any part. It's just like, oh, it's an assault on the brain. It's like every mistake's a paper cut on the brain. It's like, is this supposed to be funny to you? I'm just a dum-dum then. I just can't get sarcasm, I guess. I want to read a passage from this video. I want you to look at this net. Now, you guys know what a net is, right? It's just a bunch of lines that you cross. But they couldn't draw the line right. How do you do that? Never mind how you do that on accident. How do you do that on purpose? They don't connect. You would have had to have literally taken your hand off the paper to do that. How did that happen? Like, I felt bad. It was bad. This is so bad. And the thing is, I was dreading talking about this on Digest because I didn't want to embody this video and just repeat myself of how bad it is. And there you go. Can't help it. Like, what happened to him, like, giving you the history of this stuff and, like, really digging for it online and, like, hunting down an old VHS copy? Again, this is on fucking Retro Crush and on Discotek Media's web YouTube channel. Like, they have all of them freely available. This is not a hard anime to find anymore, you know? It's just not even like, you know, maybe just people haven't heard about it. They've never been to a fucking anime con before. I don't know. It's just really insufferable. I really didn't like it. And there's another video I thought was not good, and I thought it was going to be the only not good until that one. I mean, I kind of expected it, but, you know, I didn't think it'd be worse than this video, but this one was not that good either. God, this was also really tough, but at least it was engaging in the way that I kept taking notes and was excited to see what wrong thing they'd say next. OtakuDaiKun put out a video, Localization is Overrated. Already, the title is the smuggest fucking thing you could ever fucking say. You're not a fucking industry person. Who the fuck are you? You can have an opinion about it. It's like, oh, I think it's overrated. But he doesn't. Most of this video, he phrases his script as, we anime fans demand this. And it, like, he uses I, like, once or twice. But for the majority of the time, he's sounding very authoritative. And like he knows what he's talking about. Without being any transparent about how subtitles can also be very misleading. That's also a part of localization. Localization is translation. That's what he's like, they're not the same thing. You have to you can be one for one. It's like, no, you don't want to do that. And at least he's well read on the argument. You know, he brings up pretty much every single counter and kind of has an excuse for it, but it's all really bad. And like the first fucking example he makes is of localization being overrated. His entire the way he opens this video, basically, technically the way he opens this video is with an Appleseed clip of like, look, I used to admire this thing, you know, with Ghost Stories and Golden Boy, and this used to be acceptable, and now it's not acceptable. It wasn't acceptable back then, actually, and now they're trying to fix it, and you think that they're doing worse now. It's just so narrow-minded and not holistic to what's going on in the industry. You're not talking to industry people. You're just in your own fucking head. You're not giving any sources to what you're talking about besides the examples you pull, which the examples you pull are you can't really pull. It's very difficult to prove your case with examples like this of because they feel cherry picked. They just feel like there's this random line from To Love Ru, which the regular line is that's not normal, or that's old fashioned, and then the dub changes it to that's misogynistic. And he analyzes this line, right? And he just thinks, oh, that's too harsh of a word. Yeah, it makes sense in the context. Like, it not even like it doesn't make sense. Like, yeah, it does make some sense. It's just a little aggressive. And then he says, I'll admit this difference is minor, but if we can understand this one incident, we can understand all other localization changes. No, you cannot. No, that's not how it works. This is a fucking industry with hundreds of fucking people, decades, 20, almost 30 years, people working in it in different companies, and it's an industry. There's practices, and there's common like industry practice and like standards and what the Japanese creators want you to do. There's demands from the like you can't make a holistic argument like this. It has to be a case-by-case basis. You have to really look into what, ask the creators, ask the ADR directors these questions. Hey, why did you make these decisions? And you can agree and disagree all you want, but then it's like it's too late. The decision was made. It happened, and it's unrepresentative of what happens now. It's just petty and pedantic, and it's just, I hate this argument so much. This is the line I wanted to point out. I hope we anime fans will continue to pull the reins on these writers, training them in a new form of localization that better matches what we as viewers want to see. You're delusional. You're a fucking fan. You think by pointing these examples out, you're reining them in and training them of what should be considered good practice. You're not in the fucking industry. If you want to make a change, you get in that industry. I'm sorry if you can't find your way into the door because you're being an asshat publicly, and when your name gets put out there, then people are going to look you up, and then it's like, oh, this guy, this asshat. You're not going to get a job this way. And I know that's like a unholy, there's some criticism to that frame of thinking. Like, yes, there's, I don't know. Like, this is with the whole iDubbbz thing of like, that's a kind of argument that people were making of like, oh, it's going to make you look bad or whatever. But I mean, I'm thinking of that constantly. At least I'm trying, I'm trying my best. Because I want this to be my living. I want to care about this. I want to share it with more people so it gets to more people as possible. And not necessarily, I don't necessarily want to cater to these niche fans that are already in bed with anime to begin with. Like people like me, like I want to be satisfied with the work that I do, obviously. I'm not going to try to change anime to, and none of these creators are thinking that. None of these industry people are thinking, I want to change anime to fit my viewpoint. And it's like, that might come off as you might find an example that's the case. And in which case, that's a bad industry person. And that was a bad choice. And not all of us are co-signing to that just because we work in the industry. Like, that's just not how it works. It's naive. It's teenager. You're young. Naive is what I'm trying to say. I wrote so many examples here that I just don't really want to bog this video down with like all the fucking things. But he's complaining about the fucking jelly donuts thing. What was it? It was, yeah, he was like, he makes the point of how like when you're doing a localization, there might be a Japanese pun that doesn't make sense when you translate it to English. So in doing that, he's like, that's fair and usually tame, but also it can become into jelly donuts. It's not the same thing. That's not the same thing as jelly donuts. I get you want the characters to say onigiri and you can learn what onigiri is, but you realize this is Pokemon that's airing on Cartoon Network, and the kids that this is targeting do not give a flying fuck of whether it's onigiri or jelly donuts. It's one line. It's a throwaway line. I don't even know what episode it's from. It's not a key point. It's not necessary. And you make also another point about Pokemon, how it's like, look, we can learn about exotic things. Look at Pikachu. What's a buck's a Pikachu? That's a word that we all came to learn, and it was fine. Completely ignoring the vast majority of localized names for Pokemon. Like, we're not calling Bulbasaur Fushigi-Dane, or Charizard Lizardon, even though I like Lizardon a lot, you know, but I'm not being a bitch about that. I'm not fucking complaining. Oh my god, oh no, Lizardon, Charizard, the universe is collapsing. It's like, I hate this example. It's just so annoying. Who cares? Who fucking cares? We do as fans, because we care a lot. All right, dude. All right, dude. This is a yikes. Beyond that lies an experience that not even the Japanese can have. Exoticism. Look, I don't know if you know this, but for the longest time in Western media, we have exoticized Japan, and it has led to a lot of problematic things. Admittedly, I'm not that strongly versed in it. Be Kind Rewind had a very good video talking about whitewashing it with Asian actors. And it was talking a lot about how we want to depict Asian stories in Western media, and we just cast white actors instead. Because for some weird xenophobic reason. Like, to say that, like, we want it to be exotic is a little... It's just not the direction you want it. I don't think it's necessarily an argument you want to make. Not to say, like, everything has to be localized. I think it's a case-by-case basis. And you point out plenty of decent examples in this video, a lot of which are not very prominent, you know, so I at least appreciate that it's educational in that way. And you say at the end that there's not necessarily a bad faith here. Like, you're not trying to hate on English dubs, even though you kind of are. Like, your only examples are from English dubs, but you're not citing any localization changes that are made all the time in Japanese subtitles. You're not making those complaints. Why is it only dubs that you're making complaints about? It just seems you have, like, tunnel vision, to where, like, every example you cite, there's another one that localization's bad, even when it's like there's literally no fucking difference. Like even it picks the Steins Gate quote. He said, like, in the sub they say something like a century or something referencing like, oh, this wouldn't happen in a century. Some quote like that. And in the dub they say, in a millennia. You wouldn't know in a millennia. And then this guy, he's like, a century and a millennia are literally a whole magnitude apart. You'd think a scientist would know better. That's not... It could have been in better faith. I guess it wasn't like the worst or something, but it's just so smug. Like, this guy's voice in particular was just like, we anime fans like the dub, and he didn't even pronounce Chan right. Anime. You're insufferable, dude. Please get better. Please change. I don't know. He seems like a sharp enough guy, but it's like, he didn't even pronounce Ushio right. And then in the dub, Nagisa's voice actress says Ushio right as he's like, they can't pronounce Ushio right. And then the dub says Ushio. And then what he's criticizing is the other dub actor being like, Ushio. Oh no! Ushio versus Ushio. Oh no! You know, if you think that's bad. You remember, I don't know if you happen to know about Warriors of the Wind, the localization for Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind back in the 80s. And they cut a half hour from that film. They literally removed scenes that they thought were too slow. They just wanted it to be action-packed, so they removed all kind of the filler. And probably also, I think they also cut it in, like, they made it a 4:3 aspect ratio, and instead of squishing it, they just chopped the edges off the screen. So it's like a box. You know, not like it's 4:3, but it just wasn't filmed like that. Just parts of the film were literally removed, and then an entire half hour of actual footage was removed. And that's just footage wise. Like dub wise, they renamed most of the characters, including they renamed Nausicaa, I think, to Zeon or Zara, Princess Zara. Is that it? That's a completely different name. At least, I'm sorry they didn't pronounce Ushio correctly. Big. I can't fucking believe it. The universe is fucking collapsing. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm sorry. It happened. It exists. It's over. They're not going to dub it again. If you're bothered by that, watch the fucking subs. This seems like more of an anti-dub thing, even though you say you're not anti-dub. It's like, what would the problem of this be if you just watch the sub? The Japanese, I don't get it. You don't even preface this video with like look, dubs are important, but when this happens, I don't know what this was trying to do. It's weird. Anyway, I'm sorry I'm just kind of all over the place with these. Would it be, would it do? Not good. I didn't think that was, yeah. Okay, now for the videos that I thought were decent. I liked that. First, we're going to talk about a Noxris video. Initial D is slept on. This is a neat little video. He starts kind of in media res, like, Initial D is really cool with the this and that, and it doesn't give like a whole, like a summary. Like, he does summarize it a fair deal and kind of like explaining what Talking Bee's deal is and what the premise is, kind of thing. And it's kind of it's a little standard in that way, but it's very in good faith and talking about Initial D, and I like Initial D a good deal. He seemed to only really talk about the first stage, which is okay by me because I kind of just mostly like the first stage. Like, the first stage is fantastic and the rest of it's just okay. But he does include little clips from the movie trilogy as well, just visually. But it seemed like he was really only talking about the first stage. So that's cool by me, at least. I appreciated that you talked about the professional driver that they have kind of the influence of and the backstory of where this kind of came from. He didn't necessarily talk about the manga all that much. I'm not looking for like a holistic, definitive Initial D video, you know what I mean? It's like some people aren't in the mood for that, or a mood to make that. But it's like, you know, I'm happy you at least have included that particular portion of it, and you had a nice little personal note towards the end where it's like, you know, I always liked Takumi. I didn't care about driving or drifting or professional street racing or whatever, but by the end I got to really like it, and I like that connection, you know, where it's like, you know, the main character doesn't care about the thing and grows to like the thing. It's similar to the audience doing the same thing. It wasn't a point that I ever really connected in my head, and I was like, oh yeah, that does make sense. That's really cool. That's neat. I was disappointed that you hand-waved the visuals at the end there. He's like, you know, aside from some outdated visuals, and had the conclusion, and it was like the second to last thing you said. And, you know, I disagree. I mean, not that I, like, you know, makes it, you know, criticize, you know, just because I disagree with something necessarily. But, I don't know. I would like to hear. I would have liked to hear more of what you were thinking about that with what you mean by outdated, of like, because of the CG, the integration with CG in 2D. Because yeah, there's some things where like you're watching the cell animation character with the computer car going across, like when they are in the same shot, it looks very artificial. It doesn't feel like they're actually there. You know, give me some more examples like that. I think. You know, or what about the character designs? Do you have anything about that? Because they're very distinct. There's very interesting and kind of stylized about them, which is something I think kind of gets lost in later adaptations. You know, it's the second through fifth stage, they kind of get more normalized or serious looking, and it's like, you know. But you know, just if you're gonna make you didn't even have to talk about visuals, but when you do, when you make like a throwaway line like that, at least someone like me who's seen Initial D is like, wait, what do you think that? Or maybe they just agree and it's like, yeah, of course. So just something to think about when you make a statement like that. Try to at least give it a sentence of why do you think is that outdated. Was that you drifting at the end there with like the go-kart thing, or is it just like footage you found? I thought it was really wholesome, like a nice way to end the video of sorts. And then if I was you, I was like, oh, that's cool, because it's like, oh, it got me to drift, and I don't know. I like that sort of personal stuff. It's very very wholesome. I dug that. It was a kind of a neat small little package, and kind of just talking generally about the show, not trying to be profound or anything. But for what that was, I really liked that. I think this was kind of your first, like, I mean, it's not your first video, but it seemed like your first, at least based on the kind of the seeing the other thumbnails and titles and stuff, it seemed more of like the first like concentrated video essay sort of thing. So like, yeah, that was pretty good for your first. Yeah, nice. Finally talking about another Oceaniz video. I'm not gonna go Aniz, but I think we'll just go Oceaniz. I think that's how it's supposed to be. How to analyze anime and fiction in general. So, this was very good faith, talking about how to make kind of an analysis sort of thing. And he's not necessarily making an anime video, which is what I thought this was initially. I was like, oh, ooh, but it's just more like how to think critically about media, and it's like, try to find the parallels, the themes, the similarities, the contrasts, and talking generally kind of like giving up some certain points, like talking about death of the author and other things of that nature. I really liked that he was kind of extending a hand like that, and kind of making observations like that without coming off as an authoritative figure. Like, I know the answer, Like he starts a video of like, look, I'm not going to give you, I can't really give you the definitive everything because it's kind of an art, you know what I mean? And a lot of this is not necessarily the right way to do this. So again, that's why I think it's kind of in good faith, because it's accurate. Good faith in the fact that it's accurate. Now, just good faith in the fact that, he's not trying to be the end all be all of like, you must do as I say and everyone be like me. You know what I mean? I appreciated that a lot. I can notice that there's a little more confidence in his way of writing. I think there's more of his personal voice coming into it and more personality, I suppose. It's less about talking. It's less projecting what you want to say and more of the fact that he's saying it. And he's starting to grow in that way as a content creator, where I think especially if you grow an audience, I think that happens even faster. You kind of turn the mindset into like, it's the fact that I'm saying it, and not just because it's not exactly the thing that I'm saying. But it's still the thing that I'm saying. But it's like the fact that I'm saying it. It's like people want me to talk about this character or whatever, and that comes with a certain amount of confidence and personality. And I can tell that there's just, and that just leads to a more confident product, I think. And you're able to speak more affably, if that's the right word. Comfortably, I suppose, is another one. But it felt more like, and again, less authoritative. But I was very happy to hear that for sure. Visually, though, I could tell why you can get these things done in a week. Your productivity is great in that way. And then at the same time, it's just like, oh yeah, he's just gonna talk for like 20 seconds with one word on the screen. Yeah, I guess you could do that. Damn. I just, for me, it's I'm still stuck in that I have to show a visual every 3 seconds or the audience will click off or something like that. I think that all the time. Not like unironically, like can't be more than 5 seconds, But I have the kind of, I guess it's sort of an ADD sort of thing where it's like I don't want to dwell on the one visual. I want to quickly switch to something else and give lots of things. But it's like it's fairly minimal editing in that way, I think. He uses very similar images multiple times, not doing anything too fancy schmancy. And but in that way it's nothing to sniff at, It's good though. I think it's serviceable for what you're trying to do. I also appreciated that he had plenty of examples to back up what he was talking about, where, you know, it's like, for example, talking about Monster, or when you're talking about JoJo, or whatever, you know, without like dwelling it, you know, this could have very easily spiraled into like you know, sneaking in your own little, like, your own analysis and stuff like that. But he just kind of gives like a very surface level example without dwelling too much on it. I think a lot of people kind of get distracted with their example, and they just kind of rant onto it. So that was very tasteful in that way. It felt very well paced, while being supported, while your points are supported. Yeah, I liked that. I'm happy you were kind of extending in that way and not necessarily enticing anyone to make a video or something. If you were, I would have definitely been saying something kind of like a way to keep your audience engaged. Because when you're, you know, if you're personally analyzing something and you want to have a deeper understanding, that's kind of what this video is for. But in terms of communicating that idea, Oceaniz does talk a little about, you know, you can find interpretation in anything, but it's a matter of how convincing that interpretation is. Like, you can say these things, but it's like, are people going to believe you? And I completely agree with that. And I think in a similar vein, if you're trying to articulate this analysis as a way to communicate to somebody, you not only have to communicate it in a way that they can understand, but also in an engaging way that they're enticed to watch more, you know, and they're not sick of you talking about it, or just bored, or like, I don't care, you know, or that you lose them. That's that sort of thing. But he's not necessarily dwelling on. That's a whole other can of worms. So I'm happy that there was more of a narrow focus. Yeah, I liked a decent video. And this is kind of in the middle. I guess I'll give it a decent, but I mean, it's no less impressive for sure. It's just probably not my full, like, oh my god, cup of tea. Fistmaster, the second installment in this animated series from TeamFourStar. This is another thing that they're producing. Some of them are voicing. Apparently, the new guy from the Unabridged series is the guy behind this one, and he's doing most of this. He's doing the lead voices, animating, directing, writing. I think he co-wrote the second episode, but he wrote the first one. I watched the first one because I hadn't seen it, and I was like, well, I may as well. And it was engaging enough that I was like, yeah, okay, this isn't like a slog, you know. I actually tried watching the second episode of Unabridged, and I stopped. I could not take it. It's boring, and it's bad look. It's like really ugly looking, like still really dimly lit, and not funny. Like, what is this? This is baffling. But this is kind of an animated series that kind of a passion project. This is sort of like maybe like, you know, they try to make a pilot or something, but but it's a, you know, animated series of sorts, and very anime inspired. Kind of has the Dragon Ball vibes going, but also I don't know. I actually can't pinpoint specific a lot of, you know what I mean? Like, the last name of the main character of the doctor in this episode is Pantsu. Like panties in Japanese, and this is like a pun or something. You know, and certain little things like that, and things that the author, that this creator, it's almost entirely him, which alone makes it very impressive. The stuff that he really likes, that he's kind of like, as a kind of a fan of anime, but not like so in deep with it that he's making direct, like he's not referencing fucking Joe or something, you know. Yeah, it's not that I didn't see it as that deep, but it certainly has that anime influence to it for sure. I thought it was decently funny. Had some good action. Animation's all right. It's pretty good. And you know, the thing about it is that it took over a year to make the second episode. At least when he made the first episode, it came out in 2018. I thought it came out in 2019. 2018. Oh my god. That's forever ago. So this takes a long time. Makes sense. It's kind of one dude, but you know, that I mean, fair. hopefully you can kind of maintain the relevance to it, I suppose. But I liked that a fair deal, and that was fun. Decent, you know what I mean? All right, I want to talk about the best videos I watched this week, of which there's only two. And it's getting harder and harder to find. I don't know. Maybe sometimes there's a hot week, and sometimes the people don't upload things, or whatever. But I did want to talk about some stuff. That was pretty cool. The first one being Ginkotaku. Now, this did not blow my socks off in the way that like other like best videos in that way, but I did want to talk about it, not also because he's a patron. No, I swear, I'm not biased. He put out a 50 sub special. It's kind of a neat little thing. What anime means to me. And the reason I wanted to make this the best video, one of the best videos of the week, is because I really think that he found it in this video, like kind of his strong suits. You know how you watch a video, it has this vibe where it's like, oh, they're onto something, and there's something like really potent there. And if it's it's honed and applied to a certain thing, it could be fucking killer, and so like what Ginkotaku does here is with very kind of emotional piano music and his voice performance, the way he speaks in the mic, and like this is just kind of a very general video of his anime journey. He's like, I watched 4Kids as a kid, and then found anime forums, and then this whatever. But he makes everything sound so sad. So freaking like, I watched 4Kids as a child. or just like, it was so emotional, and the people in the comments were like, I'm crying. And like, yeah, and he's good at that. He's actually good at kind of pulling the heartstrings, even when he's talking about it, it's kind of like just fine, It's like, oh, it's interesting, and there's some parts that are kind of emotional, and it's coming from the heart. Talking about his experience with a friend of his, and also just kind of getting back into it and finding some people, and like, sometimes he has like a sort of an observation joke thing. It's like, did I just equate what anime means to me as the friends I made along the way? I guess Natsu from Fairy Tail did mean something. Or something like that, right? And it's so sincere, but like not trying to be funny, not like exerting himself to be funny, but like there's certain things where it's like, it's a feel good. It's a feel good thing. It's cathartic in like a vicarious way. Like you feel his catharsis doing this, and you feel cathartic yourself with it, and it's a good fucking feeling. I felt it was very comfy, and he was recommending his friends that are YouTubers that I was not subscribed to most of them. Not all of I was subscribed to at least one or two of them, I think, but several of them I weren't. I was like, oh boy, new content. And that was great. So, and that's so wholesome. Holy shit. So I'm really happy that Ginkotaku's congrats on 50 subs. Geez, all of us have been there. I actually I never ended up experiencing that particular phenomenon, because my first 100 subs were kind of freebie with because Anime Snob shouted me out when I put my first video out. I shared it to him, and he put out a video like linking my channel to hit from his, and a lot of people gathered from that. So I never experienced 50 subs, so I'm not gonna lie to you and be like, I've been there, but like milestones, yeah, I fucking feel that. And this was a wholesome way to do it, and it was good hearing from you. Looking forward to more things. So again, the reason I wanted to make this the best is because I honestly think this is the direction I think you should go. And maybe you already knew this, and maybe I'm just late to the fucking party, but you are so good at music selection and your voice kind of resonating with that. Like, I fucking wish you could have like narrated my fucking Moomin video. That I can't bring my voice to get to that level of sincerity and like thoughtfulness and warmth. I just couldn't think. I didn't think I would be able to do that. So I didn't have dialogue in my movement video. It's all words, But it's like, I honestly think your narration could have probably done that. That's huge. Not a lot of people can do that. So if you find subjects that you are passionate about that way, that you can kind of turn into that lane, I think you got some really potentially good stuff. I would love to hear more stuff like that. But in general, I think you just make comfy content. I think I've said so much about your last video that I reviewed here. So that was dope. Everyone go subscribe to this guy. Why does he only have 50? What the fuck? Guys, come on. This is good shit. Okay, and I really wanted to talk about this Craftsdwarf video as the kind of the best video this week. I was like, hell yeah. Crafts is great. Craft, he's making the kind of the general like Shonen Jump. He's a Shonen Jump YouTuber, but he's like MathWiz in the way that like he's talking very sincere, like he well read, like not just talking on his ass, like, oh yeah, Naruto, oh yeah. You're not just talking generally about Shonen. You actually do care about this stuff, have read it with MathWiz, and have your whole thoughts documented on it, and you genuinely care. So I trust your opinion way more than most of these other guys. So when you're saying Hirak is mid, warms my heart. No, I'm just talking about like, it's like the anime adaptation's not really great for me, and it's like I used to be engaged with it, and I'm still kind of reading it and hoping for certain things to happen, but I'm not all that optimistic. But it's like that's my place in it. But he doesn't dwell on that. The bulk of this video is talking about. And I like the cleverness of the title, because at first I was like, Hirak video, where he openly says it's mid. I don't know, watch that. Fair, right? But the bulk of this video, he's actually talking about other creators. 2 videos. He talks about a Maname Matt video and a Gig video, and then talks about an IGN article. And I think I've already said this before, maybe not here or something, but like, Crafts is super good at criticizing other creators. The kind of the thing I'm doing, but like, actually kind of, I don't know, I have talked about it with his problematic thing. He talked about Jack's video, the problematic thing. But like, he's so good at this, and being very precise, not judgmental, not abrasive, like very, very like, look, I don't think that was cool, or I don't know. It's super clean and honest, and interesting to listen to. And I mean, I don't know how inclined he is to talk about this sort of thing, but I love hearing from it. I don't know how much he loves talking about other creators in this sort of critical way, but it's sick. You're really good at it, dude. As much as you are at Shonen, I think. So to have both in the one thing, it's like, this is I think it's one of your stronger videos in a while, in my opinion, just from a concept perspective and kind of like knowing your strengths and then applying them, whether it actually delivers as your best video. I mean, that's kind of on you really. You only, I would imagine, people can say their favorite video of mine, but I'm probably the best one to say what my best video is. And similar with your case, similar with everyone else's case, I think, from the people that have actually made it, right? But yeah, I love what you said about Maname Matt's video and Gigik's video. And, they're older videos and stuff, but like, you were able to demonstrate so effectively your knowledge of shonen in general and not just talking out of your butt. One of the videos I was going to talk about, and then I just kind of backed out. I didn't really care as much, because there were so many worse videos out this week. Anime Snob put out a video talking about like the 8 fundamentals or 8 like key elements to shonen anime, or to a shonen series, and like it was so shallow and surface level and just kind of generalization. And he's like, oh, they all have to have a tournament arc. They all have to have a power system. They always have to be structured like a sports show. Like, they all have to have a trainer, a love interest, rival, tournament. Like, what? Like, what is that? No? No? It's so weird. Ugh. But, like, you're so well read when it's like, when Giga says thing, you're just like, yeah, but what about these other shows that it's like, and this is what it's defined as, and we're aware of this. You're actually aware of the tropes and the history with Jump, and you know, maybe you're like, I'm not completely caught up yet. Like, I haven't read Saint Seiya, I haven't read maybe you've read Rurouni Kenshin, like Fist of the North Star. You mentioned Fist of the North Star in your video. I was like, yes, that's the shit that I'm talking about. Just saying it, even just name dropping it, I think is more effective than just being like, anime does this. It's like, that does nothing for me. And again, I was really happy that none of this criticism that you're defending Hiroaka, or I think you actually kind of take it from both ends, but you're mostly defending. Like, from Gigix video and IGN's article, you're mostly defending and kind of giving it some the credit where credit is due, given its pedigree. And then with Man Matt, you're like, okay, cool. Shigaraki is like, there's also these characters, okay, and it's like, yeah, look. But I liked that your overall opinion of Hiroaka didn't soil, even though you were clear about it. You didn't let it soil the rest of your points, where it's like, yeah, but it's mid though, I don't care, you know, or just dwelling on that, I suppose, or bogging the video down with it, while still being like, look, I mean, I'm not the biggest Hiroaka fan, but you know, and I really appreciated that. I think I have to rewatch the end of the video a little more, because you make some really, on first listen, it was very salient points. Is that the right word? I don't know. Good points. I liked it. Yeah. But I have to like rewatch it again to be like, yeah, truth bomb. Yeah, man. I like listening to your stuff a lot. Mostly when it deals with like criticism of other people. I think that's usually when I tune in. But that's just me. I enjoyed that. So, you know, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode of AniTube Digest. It was a shorter one. I need to stop beating myself up about the lineup and shit. Some of you guys increased your dollar amounts. Thank you so much. Holy shit. Maybe because AniTube T came out the other day, and some clips of that are on my channel as well if you want to check those out. Thank you especially to Flukemorph, Jack is Boy, My Anime Pod, Najbeb, Unique Namesaurus, Yatakun, and Yellow Cheese. If you guys have videos you want me to talk about, please send them, because apparently I'm running dry. You guys have a great month, week. I swear I'm coming back this month. I should have said month. Shit. Thank you guys so much. You guys have a good week. Yo, peace.